we almost feel like we have our ancestors on our back being like, yo, you got to do this right for these kids because that's what we put you here for, right? Morally, that's what that is. Like, they trust us if we're doing the right job. And so that was a really big deal for me. And I felt a profound sense of responsibility. I wish society would just match our energy.
That was the voice of this week's guest, Dr. José Luis Vilson. José is a veteran educator, sociologist, and author in New York City. He earned his PhD in sociology and education from Teachers College at Columbia University, and he is the executive director of EduColor, an organization dedicated to building, supporting, and amplifying communities of educators of color. He is the author of a best-selling book, This Is Not a Test, a new narrative on race, class, and education, and has written for multiple publications including the New York Times, The Guardian, The Atlantic. José does not sugarcoat the dedication, sacrifice, and sense of higher calling required to be a teacher. In today's episode, we discuss 1, why José chose teaching when he had an engineering degree and a banking internship under his belt. 2, the gravity, burdensome, and spiritual side of teaching, both when things go right and when things go wrong. And 3, how to prepare students for the societal shifts we are seeing and how to approach and motivate students in the age of AI. So take out your notes and let's start today's show. As a male educator at your school site, it can get lonely. Only 23% of K-12 educators in America are male. And just think about what this gender gap means for your male students. They experience disproportionate levels of discipline. This is a show for male educators who want to feel more understood by their community and want to create emotionally safe classrooms and schools for the next generation of male students. Welcome to unMASKing with Male Educators. Dr. José Vilson, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, man.
Welcome to unMASKing with Male Educators, the Taking Off the Mask podcast. I'm so excited to be in this conversation with you, and I've been following your online presence, and so nice to have this deeper presence with you right now, face to face.
Man, this is dope. It's really good to circle back here.
Would you let folks know what you want them to know about you as we jump into first talking about our own masks, but then as we talk about this field of education, what would help people know you in the way you want them to know you as we jump into this conversation?
I think more than anything, when it comes to this conversation, I want to elevate a couple things. There's the person who is on the resume, and sure, like I can tell you all that stuff. Executive Director of EduColor, postdoc over at Bank Street College of Education. I just finished my doctoral studies in sociology and education, Teachers College. Like, I did a bunch of different things, and I'm very blessed to do that. And I am just super duper humbled by the work that I get to do. And that's the thing that people often don't see, is that I had to put up a sort of super front in order to make sure that the work got, like, pushed forward at a time when it was really hard to do it. And so I'm very blessed, and I continue to stay humbled by this idea that I have this voice that folks want to hear, and then be able to have the opportunity to then elevate more folks, and more folks who look, especially who look like me, and then maybe have some resonance with my cultural background, to be able to see what that looks like for all of us and for all our kids and communities. So that's what I get to do, and it's a blessing all around.
That's so beautiful. Thank you and congratulations on finishing that advanced work.
Thank you. I'm laughing because, like, yes, I mean, on the front, again, Teachers College, Columbia University, it's a prestigious institution, and I got to do it in sociology and education, which is a vast departure from my math education background. And I did it fairly quickly, all things considered. But I did it quickly because I'm a father and I'm a grown man, so y'all know, you know what it is. But then secondly is because, like, wow, so I get to do more and interesting work, and I get to elevate more people through the work that I do. And so that's really where I'm sitting right now, is like, what is the thing that I'm gonna make sure I elevate wherever I go so that we can get really good work done for everybody.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Well, I know, math background. I studied engineering and I became a teacher, which is that departure. And, I've been thinking about this at another level of degree. And so, but I'm also like afraid, right? I'm also got some fear. Like, how am I going to fit that into the already full, well, seemingly full life, right? But it's amazing what you can fit in when you dedicated to do it, right? So I think,
Facts, facts. I mean, it's interesting because I also studied computer science at Syracuse University, and one of the few first things I said to myself was, all right, I'm gonna be a video game programmer. That's gonna be the thing. And it was in the College of Engineering and Computer Science. So I was taking a lot of classes with folks who were gonna be engineers, do this. My roommate like ended up going to a really good job that paid him very well right out of college. I was very happy for him. And for myself, even though like I wanted to teach, I was like, how am I gonna make this happen when I don't have like the fortunes and whatever have you behind me, right? Like I don't have all that stability that I could have if I was, just your average teacher. And so I kind of jumped into teaching because of two things. One, because I wanted to see more folks like me get opportunities to become software engineers, the computer scientists, and generally that they could be. But
yeah.
then secondly, because it was mission driven, and I think that's a lot of what people don't understand about jumping into teaching is that yes,
Mm,
like those of us who go to schools to teach in the schools that we do, is the research shows we do it because of the students who we will be teaching and unapologetically so. And
man,
any child could get this work, and that includes white kids, that includes Asian. It doesn't matter. Like it matters and
that's
it doesn't. Like whatever classroom we're gonna go into, we're gonna put in that work. And so for me, I felt like whatever classroom you put me in, trust there's gonna be good
yeah,
pedagogy, there's gonna be good instruction, there's gonna be that content knowledge that we come from, and be able
exactly.
to push them forward in the ways that we think about the work. So
Yeah, that's so great. And I think for those who get to see you and say, "Hey, why'd you choose this?" Right? Why'd you choose it? You have all these things that you've done. Why did you choose this? I think for sometimes they're shocked, right? Sometimes people are shocked that you chose this thing, right? Like sometimes they think it was either accident or you had no other choice. No, there's lots of choices.
sure,
I this is from passion, purpose, mission work, right?
that's
When
right.
my mentors taught me the mission fuel that I get from those young people whose lives I get to come in contact with, just what I heard you say, like, I do it for them. I do it for the they can I do it for them because I want them to see what it is to, like, have a job where you got all the things you thought you wanted, the money, the potential, and all the opportunities, and then you're like, I really rather just be doing this, and to like follow your heart as opposed to following the head and what we've been told we have to want to, and all those things are nothing wrong with them if it fulfills you. When it becomes a cage and you're basically numbing every day, weekend, or too often just to forget that you're in a job you hate, then it becomes that it's not a career anymore. It's a prison almost,
Yeah, that's real. Oh my gosh. So I tell people all the time that prior to teaching, I actually did an internship at Bear Stearns, which at that point before the fiscal crash was one of the largest banks in the world. And so when I went there, I did my internship. I got paid pretty well considering it was just an internship. And I would come out of that job and there was no sweat. Like, boom, boom, I did my job. I leave it at the job. And when people would ask me when people asked me what I was doing, I was always like, "Oh, it's an internship at Bear Stearns," and people would be like, "Oh, that's great. I'm happy for you." And that was it. Like it didn't have to go any further. They would ask me questions here and there, but it wasn't anything too deep. And same thing happened at another research firm that I was part of. I did, some own transcription work, some other
Mhm.
deliveries, yada yada. I did the job. I left, and it was done. Teaching took over my whole lifestyle, took over my whole being. And there were weekends that first year, especially where I did numb myself to try to like I write about this extensively. This is public knowledge. I'm not worried. It's like I had to because it was such a big transition for me on a personal and a professional level, and trying to figure out how to reckon with 90 souls that I was in charge of while
Yeah.
still learning about
Mm.
myself and my own. That
Yeah.
people, and so for me, like on that spiritual and moral level, like, yes, like we understand we are mission driven, and like we almost feel like we have our ancestors on our back, being like, yo, you got to do this right for these kids because that's what we put you here for, right? Morally, that's what that is. But then, and by the way, like not just the 90 folks, but also their parents, their moms, dads, titis,
Mm,
grandmas, whoever it is that is their guardian, whoever that may be. Like
that's right.
they trust us if we're doing the right job. And for me, I felt like because I was doing the job I was doing, they all cared that like I was doing my job. And so that was a really big deal for me. And I felt a profound sense of responsibility, regardless of how like I was still learning about teaching, right? I was still learning how to teach. I was still a baby. But then the second part, though, too, and this is worth saying, is that I wish society would just match our energy. Like,
Mm,
if you pay me commensurate to the energy that I put in every single day for the students, then this profession would be profoundly different. You would attract exactly who you would want in front of the students, who
that's
care
right.
deeply, who spent nights and weekends often troubling themselves over how they're going to reach those students.
That's
And
right.
like these are the things that people don't get. And so, of course, it's natural for like as you start getting into the swing of things, all of a sudden you're like, I want this profession to last. So I gotta dial it down a bit because if not, then I can't draw from an empty well. And so that's the
Mm,
other element too. And so for me, like it's two parts. It's like on the one end, there is that moral obligation to really teach the children well. But then on the other end, it's like, all right, society, like you need to match that energy and do the right things, not just pay me well, but also make sure I have the right supports, the right resources, and make sure that my students especially are able to go in and feel like they're going to be taken care of and not like in a baby sort of way, but in like a holistic sort of way.
yeah. Oof. Oof. Okay, man. Okay, we're already in. We're already in. We're already in. We're already in.
You know
So,
what time
like,
it is?
yeah, it's already happening. It's already happening. So the mask opportunity. Let's just do that. Like, we're already actually going there because I think when I'm talking about what's happening as a teacher behind what I'm letting students see, like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. So, um, would you like to go first? Share your mask. How about you just either share the front and then the back, or you want me to go first? What would you like?
Um, let me do my front mask first, and then
Okay.
we'll take turns. How's that?
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Fantastic.
so for my front mask, the three
Yeah.
qualities that I wish that I know students see from what I can tell is
Yeah.
that I work hard. I will
Mm,
do whatever. I will be as altruistic as possible, i.e., I really care about them and the folks who they come from. And then third is that I also I mean, I'm trying to figure out a better it's not so like it's not modesty, it's humility, right? Like I
mm,
I need so I do put myself at a higher level. I get that energy up where I need to, but it comes from a
mm,
very humble place where I respect that gift and that knowledge that's been given to me. So
yeah.
I think those are the things I would put up for everybody. It's like that hard work, the dedication is the word that I have for them. And I think
Mm,
that deep humility that I understand, even as I'm like, whew, like I'm soaring to make sure that they can do their work, they do it well. But I also show them that, hey, like I'm humble about this joint. Like this is really deep for me.
yeah. I resonate. I resonate with those. I and here's how mine came up with similar and also so the three I wrote on the front were capable, caring, and dedicated. And I really like how you use the word altruistic because I realized that as a teacher, I knew that I had to have snacks in my room. Like, I just
Mm,
knew that there was no way, like, what I knew and what I also watched happen, like, students, like, it was almost a thing where it was just like, even if they're gonna be the little peanut butter crackers and a juice box, right? Like
yep.
I'm not gonna have you get kicked out to go to the office and then you come back with snacks because all you needed was just something to calm you down. Already got snacks here. What's going on? You need a break? You need sit on the couch? You want to go sit on the couch? Like I was always trying to
Right.
like figure out what I was missing because I think in the early days I was just like, what's up with these kids, right? And when I
Yeah.
realized that that's what they were hearing from other teachers is like, oh, is something wrong with you? Is the reason that you can't learn and you're not showing how brilliant you are. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what I was really trying to figure out how I was going to make a difference, not blaming them for the conditions that they had been born into or created, and really trying to say to them, okay, now you're at this age as a high schooler, you're going to have to start making some decisions. And at this point, you can't really blame anybody else. We can't stop what has happened to you in the past. We can't even maybe even change any of it. But we can say from this point forward, I'm not going to let it keep dragging me down. Like, if you hate math, I'm sorry for all those math teachers you came to and they didn't help you find at least the capacity to do math. You don't have to love math. I wish you would because I love it, but you don't have to love math. I don't care if you don't love math. You can hate math every
Mm,
day. Just come in here and do your best. And if nothing
yep.
else, if you do that, you're going to pass. But I think that because you've now made up in your mind that you hate math and you want to hate me because I'm the vessel bringing math to you, then we're going to have a battle, you know? And I think it was like always trying to like go past what was happening on the outside, the arguments, I'm not your enemy. You don't need to fight with me. I'm on your team. I'm a fan of you. You know what I mean? Like, and I think sometimes they had this in their mind. Like, you're here for this money. You're only here because you have to be here. Well, I mean, I do have to live. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't want me
True.
living on your porch. So I gotta live somewhere. I gotta have a job, but I'm not here for money. Please believe. Please believe.
Yeah, man.
And I think that's the work on the front.
No, that's real. I mean, what you're making me think too is about like I tell people all the time, and it's like one of the quotes that apparently has been floating out there is like most of my work isn't actually like doing the math. It's about making, making students believe that they can actually do it. And if people talk more about that part, then we'd be in a whole different like conversation. So one of the folks I consistently like think about is Bob Moses, who I'm sure you're very familiar with. Like
Mm.
a pillar, a living well, at that point, he was a living monument. Now, unfortunately, our ancestor in that way, he civil rights as well as math education. And so he gets up there, he's like, we don't treat math the way we treat reading. Like if you told somebody that they were illiterate, that would be a crime against humanity. But you tell them that they were numerate, they're like, I'm not a math person, so it's whatever. And meanwhile, like the folks who look like us, who want to teach students math, we know from a moral and holistic standpoint how giving students math means that you're actually providing them with gifts that were already part of their legacy, already part of their
Mm.
history, and has been stripped from them. And so, in that way, like math is a really big deal because we want our students to walk around anywhere and say, we can make models, we can make predictions, we can figure out what's happening around us, even when there are no words for it. We know
Yeah,
like what we know, and we are able to show how we know what we know. And so,
that's right.
like, we don't want any knowledge to be ever stripped from our students. And so math is one of those key things that says well, obviously from a very hood level, we don't want kids to get robbed, point blank, right? Because that's the math part. But then, like at a higher level, it's like, yo, like all around you, you're doing math all the time. We're just trying to give you language for the thing that you're already doing. And so, for me,
Mhm,
I feel like,
mhm.
when people say, "Oh, you're trying to be a good math educator," I'm not a. Yes, you're a math person. You are a math person because the math is already inside you. It's just a matter like of whether or not you have the right people, not just one person. Because
Yeah,
like Ashanti's dope. But Ashanti is not going to be your only math teacher out of like the 12 or 13 you have in the course of your career that's going to get you to be good at math. You
that's
need
right.
Ashanti, like you need good to great teachers all along the way, all saying, yo, like you could be good at math. And so
That's
I think
right.
that's part of our work too, right? Is trying to get more teachers as well to start
Yeah,
believing in the kids so they don't come to us and like, oh, like I don't like math because of that one horrible experience that you had with one teacher. It's like now this
that's
that's not good enough. That is just
that's
not.
right.
We could do way better. We can count them all.
Man, that's fantastic. Oh, that's beautiful. All right, okay. So that okay. Well,
Let's go.
that's why I wanna just go in so deep. Okay, so now the back, the back. You wanna go to the back first?
All right, I can go. I can do that because
Okay. Hmm.
the thing that I wish people saw, right?
Yeah,
Because that's what it is.
yeah.
One is that I am consistently afraid, consistently insecure, um, and consistently like like I won't even. It's not even. It is insecure, but it's even deeper than that. It's like I am like almost. I'm angry. often.
Mm,
So here's what it is. Like on one level, I worry. I worry about the world that doesn't want to see our students in the full capacities and the full human beings that they are. And I mean that for adults as well. I'm insecure about what like there were there's at least 1 year again, well documented. There's at least 1 year where I thought I was doing a terrible job. And really it was one class that out of the dozens of classes I've taught, that one class just was not hitting and I don't know what it was, but I've had to forgive myself often, way often, and so I'm worried. Like I worry, and then I'm insecure about whether or not I'm doing the right job. And even with the best classes I've had, I've just been like, "Yo, are you sure that you're learning? Are you see what I'm seeing?" Like even in my college classes now, these are like adults in their 20s, and I'm like, "Yo, did y'all catch that? Are y'all good? Do y'all feel that?" Like this is
mm,
not me saying like I need you to learn what I'm saying. I
yeah,
actually just want to make sure if what I'm saying is resonating with you. That's a whole different thing. And
yeah,
so I think the last part is like I'm consistently angry. And by angry, I don't mean like "Arr," all the time. Like I'm not bottling it up. I am
uh,
angry about like the way that our world has decided to look down on our people, on our
yeah,
students, on humanity more generally. And I cannot accept that this is like the way we don't have to live like this. Like we just don't. We if like I have been in so many spaces where I am almost certain that we were living by a shared humanity just by the mere fact that we had to like be together for an extended
mm,
period of time. But when you start adding on all the nonsense, including what you see, at higher levels of government, at like, even local level and all the social media stuff, and then when people actually get to see you and know you, then it's like,
yeah,
oh, like it's not like that. It's like, you're right, because I am a human being and I'm trying to convey to
mm,
you why it is that I'm seeing what I'm seeing. I want you to see what I see too. And so
yeah,
that's called empathy. And if we can like lean more into that, and it's not being nice, it's not like, oh, hi, how are you doing? Because I've had a lot of nice people not be so kind. Like I've had nice
mhm,
people who've told me, "Oh, like, hi, how you doing?" But then they still do nonsense in back of me, right?
yeah.
Versus kind people, which, by the way, New York, we have a lot of kind people, even when they're not nice. Like they'll tell me like the directions of where I'm supposed to be going, even if they see it in a mean way, and I'm like, "Thank you." Like I feel worse, but now I feel better too. So thank you for doing that. And I think more of our world could like really use like an actionable kindness because
Mm,
that's the thing. And so like, and it has to be political, it has to be personal, it has to be spiritual, it has to be all these things. Like, what does it mean to be kind for
yeah,
everybody? Because when our students walk in, this is why we're such good teachers, right? Like even at our worst moments, we blame
mhm,
ourselves first,
yeah,
and then we forgive our students often, but then we also like look at different people. We're like, what decisions allowed for this to happen before it
ooh,
got to me, while it got to me, after it gets to me? Like, there's just no way. And I'm sure you've had students pass away too. And like, even at like when I went to that memorial service, I was the only teacher there, like first teacher, because he had his things. Whatever, but
yeah,
when I got there, I was just angry because I'm like, this kid was amazing in my class.
mm,
And so what happened after that he decided that this was going to be the life that he led, or that, and I'm looking at all his friends are in a similar boat. I'm like, y'all were in like the like you were top tier in my class. Like what's going
mm,
on? So
yeah,
consistently angry at the way that our world has decided to throw away so many of our people. And we
mm,
can do better. We can do so much better.
thank you, man. Um, yeah, as a teacher who cares, when you have one of those losses, it hits, and I think, I definitely resonate with that, and I'm thinking of one in particular. We got him through high school, and he went off and being an entrepreneur, and just maybe wrong place, wrong time, but life cut short, and it was painful. It was painful. When I got the call, um, I was at an event, public facing event, and I was just like, "No, you gotta be kidding. There's no way that this," and then I'm trying to like keep the smile on while after I get off this phone call, and the event has just started, right? So I'm just like okay, Ashanti, we gotta get through this event,
Yeah,
right?
man.
So I'm like kind of like floating in this place in between, like, oh, I'm in this very public facing event where they're highlighting this documentary that I was in, and right now, what's happening right here, be right here on the layer right behind this smile is just like I probably should not be here. I feel guilty being here. Like I should be going to comfort the family. I should, and so you just like, okay, okay, okay.
That's deep. That's
And how do you
deep.
carry those at the same time when you're carrying all of it at the same time, right? It's like that.
Yep.
Okay, we're this is the real work, right? The real work is not when I just get to talk about it. The real work is how I'm living it, right? Like, um, and so I'll say that this is my back connects to your back as well. A heavy load, my brother and drama, and I mean my brother's life that I pick up on because I was the oldest and I helped raise them, and worry and stress. The worry and stress. And the worry and stress is connected to that anger, frustration. Um, I think the one I want to talk right now about, just as you mentioned that, is the anger, worry, stress. Because I had
Mm,
one student one day say, "Are you a preacher?" And I'm like, "What? I ain't no preacher. I'm a teacher." They're like, "You sound like a preacher." Like I'm like, "Well, my grandfather's a preacher, and I was raised in the church. Like I was in church all the time. I mean,
mm.
literally all the time. Sunday twice, Tuesday Bible study, Wednesday prayer meeting, Friday choir rehearsal, Saturday I was a janitor. My grandfather was a pastor, so you do all the extra and extra, right?
Yeah.
I moved so many chairs with my teenage years, boy. I tell you, I know what it's like to be like in that place all the time. And I think when I thought about like what I saw in my classes, I was like, I cannot just watch you sit here and throw this education away. So I felt like
Yep.
there was no social media back then. I could see I would I probably too shy to be recording myself, but I was always having speeches with my students. I got like 12 people didn't
Really.
do their homework last night. I'm not letting that go. I'm not gonna like what I'm saying? Like it was 3 questions, it was 5 questions, it was whatever it was, like, you didn't even make an effort, and so I'm just like, I know that some of you did it, so I can't be mad at everybody, but man, and I can't have 12 different conversations, so I gotta have a holistic conversation to the whole room
Right.
of letting you know that that this is not small. You not making a choice to do it, whether you came stayed after school, whether you came at lunch, whether you came early in the morning, like, you made a commitment to, like, not doing your best,
Yeah.
even they were all wrong, like, I didn't even try, and I think for me, that's what I really try to press into students is, like, you gotta know this world doesn't ultimately care about you, the world as a whole. There may be people in the world care, and hopefully you have at least 5 people who, like, really, really care about you, like, some people have a hard time counting 5, right?
Yeah.
And imagine how often that happens, so those are things that really I carry and I have carried as a teacher and standing in front of the room trying to pour out this idea of education, but also deeply heartbroken that so many of them, I'm just watching them kind of like just throw it to the side. And all I can say to them is, listen, I just want you to know in the future when your life doesn't turn out the way you think it's going to, that you don't blame me. I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to be selfish right now. Like I just want to make sure in the future when your 18-year-old self is not graduating, you don't put my name in your mouth that Mr. Branch has something to do with it. Because I'm going out of I'm going above and beyond to remind you that every
Yeah.
decision you make here, whether you're making a decision to do or not do, is adding value to what's going to happen in the future. And I'm here so that you will not be mad at your 14-year-old self, and definitely so you don't accuse me of somehow messing up your education, right? So I was like, I'm gonna be selfish here. This is probably my own personal legacy too, you know. Um, but that's the journey of this work.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've lost a lot of sleep. I'm sure you lost a lot of sleep. That's what folks don't get too. Is like in that responsibility is real, and
Yeah,
but we can't do the job the way that we do the job if we don't feel that sense of responsibility either, right? Like that's what folks don't get. Like it goes, it's both and it's both that like we, read these autobiographies of Malcolm X's, Toni Morrison's, you name it, like Nikki Giovanni. We are immersed in this legacy of folks who really believed in us. And so
Yeah.
in our paying it forward, we necessarily act the way that we do because we want to make sure that folks are like attuned. Like, how do you listen to, Like a Ship by T.L. Barrett, for example, which by the way, like that was an anthem while I was doing my work. By the way, my dissertation was about teachers of color in New York City, and hence why like I consistently had hymns and like gospel
Mm,
music, which by the like that wasn't. I'm Catholic, so that's not part of our tradition per se. At least the English side, the Spanish side, they're good, but English they're weird and stoic or whatever. Um, w- Embracing a certain ethos about the work means that we have to like pull in the ways that we've seen folks be effective, like the pastoral tradition is real, or even folks who practice Buddhism, like there are folks who align
mhm,
themselves in that way, and that's how they teach. Even those who practice like more I guess grounded or native traditions, indigenous traditions, like uh, their alignment is gonna be there. It's gonna show up. Like we can't come in stoic. We can't come in like rigid. We have to come in with certain intonations and the way that we do things. And granted, we're
mhm.
not gonna walk around with baskets like tithe or whatever have you, but we are gonna walk around and be like homework. Like that's
Hey,
good. That's our gospel, right? And
that's
so
exactly right.
we're gonna, every so often, like it's not gonna happen on a Sunday because schools are closed on Sunday, but don't test me. There's gonna be that one time where you're gonna get the little speech, you're gonna get the
Mhm.
little, 5 minutes. I'm throw that in there. Like, by the way, like, don't think I forgot because this life is not fair.
That's
But
right.
just because it's not fair, and people know
Mhm.
like it's time to quiet down, sit down, and receive the word. And then it's like, all right, bell rang, peace be with you, and also with you. Amen.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
feels like that. Like we ain't gonna lie. It's just the way it
Oh,
works. So good on you for elevating that work because, like I said, this work isn't just professional. It's not just personal. It's also spiritual, holistic, and it's aligned to legacy work. So gotta respect the tradition.
yeah. Well, no, good on you too for having that heart for beyond just the grades on the paper, right? That's what I so believe we need to. And that's just how, based on what you've seen or what you're hearing from students, how can like educators out there, like we're these conversations I've been having with male educators, which is a few, that we know our percentages are low in many areas, right? In different, levels of education, they change. But what are you hearing from students about how we can better understand young people and what they're going through? What are you hearing from students? What are you seeing them reflect to you when you have a real conversation with them?
It's funny you mentioned that because even when I think I'm not as in tune to young people as I once was, I mean, besides the fact that I have a son at home and he's navigating the world around them, and I listen to him and his friends all the time. I was at this math conference in Atlanta very recently, and I dropped my friend off at a hotel, and like that was really dope. I was like, all right, cool, have a good day. And then my hotel's on the other side of the stadium. I walk by it, it's NBA YoungBoy in that stadium, right? And if you know anything about NBA YoungBoy, um, no, you don't. Like, no, you don't. And so, in being thoughtful about this specific audience right here, like it, on the left side, and by the way, I'm wearing like a plaid shirt, I'm wearing khakis, and so like, on the left side were, mostly teens to early 20 something year olds, like getting, their party on and all sorts of paraphernalia and whatnot. So on the right side, you had a bunch of folks who, like they're law enforcement. And so I'm walking through this like, oh, I totally fit in, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I, like, saw was young people who, yes, like, they were having a good time, very similar to how generations before were having a good time in their own
Mm,
interpretation, but it didn't mean that, like, these were the things that, like, they were really up to in their own way, right? And so, I think one thing that is important is to consistently and actively listen. Um, we ask, so like there are adults who consistently say, nobody listens to me, this, that, or the other, this world is cold, but then they don't reflect the same energy to the young people who they have in front of them, they don't want to listen.
Yeah.
And not just like listen, like, oh, I heard you. Like, no, listen as in you're going to receive what the person says, you're going to interpret it and maybe reflect it back to them. And then hopefully we get to at least try to do something about it. Like the
Yeah.
folks who have the best message and the folks who like young people actually follow are folks who are going to reflect back and actually do something about the thing that they're like talking about. The best teachers I know, for example, are the ones who the students are like, oh, like when I say something, I feel heard. And even when I disagree,
Mhm.
I know that this person is actually wrestling with the idea. And by the way, they're not using the same language I'm using. So, like,
Yeah.
hear me out though. They'll say something like, "Yo, something about Mr. Wilson is like I know that like he actually heard me, and like when I had a problem, I was able to go to him, like, and then even when like we would go back and forth or whatever, at least I knew that like he really cared, and I don't have the words for why, and I'm like, I know what it is. It's that like Mr. Wilson's gonna do something about it. You know that like if there's an issue, I'm gonna talk to people about it, or at the very least, I tried. You know
Yeah.
that I tried, and
That's
so
right.
that's what I heard from you too, right? Like this
Yeah.
idea that we want students to see us trying, and not trying too hard, by the way. Like I try to tell people, like if they can rap, if they can, like if they have bars, then I want to hear your SoundCloud. Sure, give me your mixtape, but if you can't rap, I don't want you rapping. Like I come from a generation of folks who, I respect the craft, and when I knew I couldn't rap, I stopped rapping. Like full stop. That's not a diss. It's just like you should do that. Like there are plenty of good teacher rappers. I will never take that away from them, but I am not one of them. And so I'm not gonna be in the classroom and be like, yo, blah, blah, blah. But can I tell you some like real jewels about like what Kendrick did, what like Rhapsody did? Can I break down like all these different rappers who like are doing really dope stuff out there? I'm like, yes, I could do that. Like Little Sims is one of my favorite rappers right now, but like
Mm.
like people like you would have to go out there and listen and great. But I try to get even Tyler the creator, like people like, he used to have a really horrible history. Great. And he grew up and he's trying to take at least some of his audience with him and he has shown that growth. Why are we not listening to our students in the same way? Like let them grow in the thing. The thing that like I love about what you said earlier too was about how selfish you were and trying to be like, at least I tried. But that also means that you probably planted a seed, and that's what teachers don't understand either. It's like even when the student is getting a C in your class, you may have planted a seed that you're not going to see until 10 years after that.
Yeah.
So, like 10 years after that, they're gonna be like, "Yo, I know I was a hardhead, Mr. Wilson, but dang, like you really, like you made me think about things, and then when I was ready, like it just hit." And I've seen that on so many occasions. Like people reach
Mhm.
out to me on Instagram, on Facebook, like, "Yo, oh my gosh." Even the kids who like are still trying to work through their stuff, like they'll reflect and they'll tell me things like, "Yo, Mr. Wilson, just thank you for the work that you did. Like I was a
Yeah.
knucklehead back then, but like I'm trying to do the same thing for my kids so that they could do better." And I mean, how much more could you ask for? Like, how much more could you ask for? I don't know, Sean. I don't know about you, but like my teacher ed program was telling me if you can affect one child, then you're doing a good. 1 out of 90 is a awful ratio. Point blank. What
Well,
3 out of 90? If I can get, I don't know, 50 out of 90, I'm happy. But if I could
yeah.
get like, I don't know, 89 out of 90, even if I get 90,
Mm.
I'm always gonna go for that 100% because that's what I was raised on. I'm Caribbean, bro. Like I don't play that. You give me 90 out of the 90 students. You give me 150 out of the 150 students I had. I am
Yeah.
in dope shape. But even if
Yeah.
I don't get to 150, I tried.
Mm.
And so you could tell I tried because if those students don't think I didn't try, then that's the problem. But if they know I tried,
Mm.
then I did my work.
Oh, man. Ooh, I got goosebumps right there. When you said ooh, man, when you said to get that 1, I was like, even if you bad at math, 1 out of 90 is a bad ratio. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even if you hate
Right.
math, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing happy about that, you know? And I think that's what happened when I as a teacher, right? I was like, "I'm doing a bad job at this." "Oh, give it about 3 years." "You mean I gotta be bad at this for 3 years?
Yeah.
I gotta walk in here every day a failure for
Yeah.
180 days of school plus summer remembering how bad it was? I will not. I
Right.
will I'm already getting paid like a peasant. I ain't about to be
Yes.
feeling like I'm at the bottom of the barrel too, you know? And I think that moment of just like, okay, I gotta try something different. Like, I don't know
Word.
what these people are talking about, but it ain't the lexicon or the philosophy that it ain't when I wrote my pedagogy letter about how I got in this program that, oh, I just want to help one kid. I wish they would. I bet they don't
Right.
accept. I bet if you said in your essay, "Oh, you know what? All I want to do is help one kid." I bet your application get dropped to the bottom. But then they tell you that you in the program when you're like when you feel like I'm not doing a good job. They're like, okay, yeah, this pep talk ain't working because I'm a math person, and I'm telling you that that I've never seen anybody happy about a 1 out of 90, and I really appreciate that because I think that's what the hell students say. It's like, look, I I wish I could have an individual conversation with each of you every day. But we have an education system where I have 30 of you, 40 of you, or how many of you at a time, and Imma give my best to all of you as much as I can. And some of you some days are gonna need more of my time, some of you
Yep.
some days are gonna want none of my time, but I'm gonna do my best to try and spread it out. Some of you,
Yes, sir.
I may not call on you often, not because I don't see you, but because the people who need the attention more are like loudly asking for attention. And I think it was that opportunity for passing the message on to them, to students. Like,
Mm.
everything you just said about the students is so powerful, and I can tell you love music because you've named several artists already that I gotta now go some of them I gotta go look up. I don't know who Little Sims is. I gotta go check
Oh,
that
you
out.
need to. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
I gotta check that out, and there's another song you mentioned earlier, Like a Ship. I gotta go check that one out by, DL Barrett. Like I say,
yeah.
I got some names
T.L.
of
Barrett, bro. Like he sung that for Jesse Jackson, actually. Um, that was one of the hymns of the civil rights movement, by the way.
okay. Well, see, I'm gonna go hear it today because I don't have it locked in my soul, but those are on my list today, to go hear. Knowing that
I got
music
you.
is so powerful go ahead.
No, I said I got you.
Oh, knowing that music is so powerful and how young people are affected by it and how they whatever they plug in their ears, how often they're letting those words ring out outward in their life. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think we need to do? What type of social things we need to do socially to like make sure our students see themselves in the future? Because if they're hearing the words, they're hearing whoever they're listening to. They may not be listening to anything positive, but whoever they're listening to, they're is doing something for them, right?
Yeah.
What kind of societal shifts do we need to do to get more messages into students so they can see themselves as not only in the future, but as part of the future? Like what I'm creating right now is creating my own future. So I got to do something good with this, right? But what do you think we can do? What are some thoughts you have about how as a society, what type of shifts we need to make as adults in the world to help those young people coming behind us?
Actually, thank you because this reminds me how like this is a conversation about democracy. Um of course that's my bag too. It's like if you don't tell people why we do what we do, then you will necessarily lose out on folks doing what we do, why we do it, how we do it. So like there's a reason why students are sent to school from a compulsory level, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that we had a whole movement for decades that tried to ensure that every kid got educated and that society had a responsibility to make sure that our children were educated in a very specific way so that they
Mm,
could be full participants. And not, I don't mean citizenship as in like papers, because that's a problem. I mean citizenship as in like that they're engaged folks within the community and the global community more generally, right? Like there's a reason why there's so like we're one of the few countries in the United States that only has like one spoken language, like on average. Like that's wild. Um,
uh,
being able to have two or more languages is a really critical part of being engaged as a global citizen. Similarly, being able to get strong at math, know your country's history, be able to engage with that too. Even though the dark parts are probably the most important parts, especially in the United States, because those are the things that allow for folks to say, "This is what we did with that." And so, being able to say to ourselves, "Yo, like we need a young adults and young people more generally, actually, to just say, what you're building right now is a set of skills so that when you grow up, you have a toolbox by which." you can better engage with the global community around you, other human beings who may or may not look like you, sound like you know, that you are part of a shared humanity, and we all need to learn how not just to like tolerate it, but actually to respect it and understand that even when things aren't going so hot, and that includes accountability that goes beyond just imprisonment, because I think that's the other part too. People just see themselves as like going like if they do bad stuff, they go this way. It's like, no, actually, you can find ways to like redeem yourself and put yourself in a position that allows you to do well,
Right.
regardless of your circumstance. And so, um, these are the conversations I would welcome. Is like one, being able to say, like, you're gonna get a set of skills, and we call that an education that allows you
Yeah.
to say, here are the multiple pathways that I get to choose by virtue of the fact that I am so like well informed about what's happening out there. And even if I can't see the connections right here, right now, I know that this body of knowledge is gonna help me get my brain bigger so that I'm able to make better choices regardless of where I go and because of where I go. Then the second level is, all right, cool. So now that I'm at a certain maturation point, what do I want the next few years to look like? And if I end up changing my mind, can I still flip somewhere else? That's the education part too. Like, I think on average is what I understand. Like, there's four career changes that folks have on average after they've graduated college. Four. That means that you need four separate jobs, right? And then of course people talk about, oh, like you got to prepare children for jobs that they may never see. Oh, that means that like we need to make sure that we have a really broad and holistic education so that everybody can get what they deserve, that they can
Yeah.
have the skills that they need to go wherever that they like. When I tell people that I design my own website, I do Photoshop. I learned how to do InDesign. I learned how to do a whole suite of tools. Like, yes, AI does this, that, and the third, but it can't do what I do. Like, and those of us who aspire to entrepreneurship, like I wrote my own book in addition to teaching, and I could walk into any classroom, and because of the pedagogical skills I developed through teaching over time, I can go into like there are ELA classrooms I have facilitated by the mere fact that I knew how to be a strong pedagogue. Like, these
Yeah.
are the things that I wish students knew. Is like actually what you're doing is not so much about this one very fine-tuned and narrow thing. It's like you're using this narrow thing in order to expand your world and bring it out further, right? So if
Yeah.
you build skills in this one area, you get to use similar skills for all the other areas in which that you wish to endeavor. And if the one thing you find is the thing that you become passionate about, great, but get good at the thing and then
Right.
become passionate about it so you can keep building. And I think those are things that I wish more of our kids learned.
Man, oof, and I think imagine with the idea of young people getting those different experiences, recognizing that here are the things I want to do, I don't want to do. I try and tell teenagers today, and they're definitely the ones I'm working with. I'm like, listen, if you don't recognize what's happening in every store you go into today, every fast food place you go in today, 85% of them have a kiosk. Like, if you don't understand that the kiosk is to get rid of you, they don't really want to deal with you. So many of
Yeah.
you are not even gonna get some experience. You're gonna have to find other ways of getting some kind of early job experience because the kiosk ain't gonna show up late. The kiosk ain't
Mm,
gonna be on his phone in the back. The kiosk ain't gonna call out because they wanna go hang out with their friends for a party. Like you should understand that they're doing it, even though they something in the grocery store, they know that people they gotta have a little loss in there. They'd rather lose some money than
yeah.
pay somebody who they can't really rely on. And I just try and help them understand like you're gonna have to have skills. You're gonna have to build those skills. You're gonna have to start building them right now. You can't wait till 18. You can't wait till you're like, "Oh, Imma just wait. Imma just get a job." Yes,
Yeah.
that's a great goal, but what skills do you have that's gonna prepare you for that job? And
Yeah.
I think those are the things that are so not just to survive, but do you wanna do more than just survive? Do you wanna do more than just get by? And I think helping them to start painting the picture of the life they're trying to live in the future is so important as educators. So really thank you for those. So what do we do? Like, what approach do you recommend for educators who are out there in education right now? Like, the kids are showing up with what they show up with. We have to show up with what we show up with. Like,
Yeah.
what type of approach or what different levels of approach do you think that we should be using to help young people prepare for the world that's coming to them?
Number one, and I think this is the most obvious one, is that AI, and what we consider AI, that being artificial intelligence, is only as smart as the average human being is.
Mm,
If you do it mathematically, all that like these large language models do is put together everything that has ever been created, but it hasn't done the thing that like actually they haven't taken all things that have not been created, i.e., there is this whole thing that human beings still need to be doing and still need
yes.
to be responsible for. So for young people need to know that the more skills they get, the more likely they can still beat out whatever tools that there are out there. And even for what it's worth, like those tools will never be as smart as you because you have to make meaning from the thing that you are being given. So
Yeah.
for from a very let's say extreme circumstance, for example, when you tell people, all right, put two and two in your calculator and it gives you four, what does that four mean? What do those 2 mean? Like, what do those 2's mean? And
Mm,
great, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, but sometimes you need it to equal to 5. Sometimes you need it to equal something else because in the real world, sometimes you need things to be a little more fuzzy so the work can actually be done well, right? Like, imagine if Stevie Wonder sat there, since we're talking about music, right? Stevie Wonder sat there and said, "Alright, cool, like, I just want to put this piano, these, 3 verses, and maybe get a chorus in and I'm done with the song." Nah. It was like, actually, let me add a little flourish here. Let me put some harmonica in here. Like, let me give you a little like intro with the and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is a composition. Like, this is an experience. This is the
mm,
most perfect song for this specific moment. But that doesn't come from AI, right? That comes from a human being saying, like, what does this deserve and what does it need? Like, because if not,
mm,
then there is no human being behind it. So that'd be number one for me, is like just making sure that we're better than whatever technology is in front of us. The second is that we have to learn how to forgive students. I know that's hard because on the one end, we want to tell people that, students are human beings, of course, which they are. And in our roles as teachers, we're forgiving students not just for ourselves, which I think is an important thing, but then secondly for them because they need the grace while they're working out what their humanity is going to look like.
mm,
The fact that psychologists are saying that like the medulla oblongata doesn't even get developed fully until 25. That means that we have them in all these. So we often, especially if you're teaching middle school, shout out to the middle school folks out there. Like they're coming in with at least 2 to 3 personalities, and often they can't manage. So I might have 30 students in the classroom, but really I have 90 all in one because each of them have three. And if you're not gonna forgive that, then you're gonna have a really hard time getting through the year. I've had that hard time, which is why I'm saying to y'all, like, cool. I think the third part, you're laughing because you know what it is.
oh,
Um,
man.
the third part, and I think this is it, is like try to find community. Like, please don't let yourself be isolated. That's a lot of what is actually aching what's happening in the planet right now. People are becoming so solitary and they're being taken advantage of because they're so solitary. I am
Mm,
very fortunate that not only did I build my own community, like that would be, shout outs to EduColor, but I'm also part of so many different collectives, including like here in New York City, across the country. I'm consistently seeking two or more of us because again, like going back to the gospel, right? When two or more of us are gathered, what happens? You know what it is.
man, it's gonna
And
be in the
so
yes, yes.
oh yeah. And so if this has been the tradition for like millennia on end, why do we think that we're that different? We are social beings, we are social creatures. And so students need to see that you're not by yourself, that you're not just one singular superhero. All the best comic books have like, leagues and collectivities who need to fight
Mhm,
against folks who are trying to do everybody harm. And of course, you see the enemy is usually just the one person all by themselves. There's a reason for that. That's because like that collectivity makes us better even in our imperfections. So go find those. And when those four walls start closing in against you in the classroom, like you need to be able to think, oh, actually, like when I open my door, I got people. And in fact, like
Man.
because of the podcast that I'm on, the young
Yeah,
people can also get to be your people when you build communities in your classroom. So
that's right.
that's a really dope element. When you can make the bridge between the community you have in your classroom and the communities you have outside of your classroom, even more so. So
Ooh,
good on you for doing that.
let's go. Let's go. Listen, Dr. Jose Vilson, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I could talk to you for a lot longer, but I want to respect your time. Like, how can folks follow you, find you? What are the best ways people want to get in touch with you? What are those want to learn more about EduColor? Like, tell us how we can do it. We'll put all this in the show notes, but we want to make sure you let the folks know how to get in touch with you.
I want to keep it super simple. My website is TheJosevillson.com, thejosevilson.com. I'm first on Google, so should be pretty easy to find. And EduColor is educolor.org. And that also has a plethora of resources. It isn't just like the website, it's also the monthly newsletter. It's also the book club that we got. It's also like
Mm.
all the really dope like ways of engaging community as well. So that's us and all our social media, like the Jose Vilson, as well as EduColor. We're out there.
Okay, we're going to tag all of it in the show notes. Dr. Vilson, so good to have you. Thanks for being on the show. Folks, Dr. Vilson and I made our masks here publicly, shared them with you. You can share yours anonymously at millionmask.org. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time. Bye now.